So another topic I'd like to mention before we get into the coding lessons and talk more about if and else statements in action is indentation. Now, I did mention indentation in the previous sections. I believe this was section 1 where we were setting up our replet account. And the idea with an indentation is that the way your code is set up to run commands and like the step by step and like how all these steps are defined. For example, this is another, I've shown you this before. This is an if and else statement. It starts with an if, and then you got the condition, and then if this condition is met, it's going to run this code. But if you pay attention, what is happening is that this code is not on the same level as this, right? It's not on the same level as this. And also same thing for the else statement. As you see, the else is here, and then the whatever that is supposed to be done if the condition is not met is actually not on the same level as else. It's just a little bit more far ahead to the right. And this is what we call indentation, and this plays a huge role in how your program works, and it needs to be something that you need to pay attention very, very close, especially when we get into more complicated if and else statements where you have a lot of conditions and things are just going to be all over the place, and you're going to have a hard time understanding what is going on if you don't understand the basics of indentation. All right, so again, this is indentation. The way it is run is that it starts with a code, and then the code is on the next line. It's a little bit far ahead to the right, and the way you can imagine this is as main folders and subfolders, right? So I'm not sure if you have experience with this. Sometimes when you open, like in a computer or in desktop, when you open like a series of folders, you can like click on it and it just opens a list of folders that are, or files that are within that main folder. And this is, like how you can imagine indentation. Essentially, the main folder is the condition, if you think about it, and then you have like the rest of the code right here in the subfolders, essentially. And same thing for the else, and then same thing for the main, the code that goes below the else. So I just wanted to kind of explain this concept to you guys real quick. If you actually take a look at this code that I showed you in the previous video, if you pay attention, we got the indentations right here set up. So we got the if statement, and then we got the condition here, whatever that condition is. And then again, we will talk about more stuff later on. I just want to kind of get you familiar with this. We're going to get into coding of the if and else statements in the next videos. So after this if statement, we got a print. So essentially, this print is going to happen if this condition is met. And if you pay attention, this is pushed 2 spaces forward. And same thing for the else. We got the else and 2 spaces forward, and then we got the print. And the way you'd set this up, if you remember you were setting up your replet account, we have an option here called indent type and indent size. So this is how you set it up, right? So like you get indent type, which you could choose between spaces or tabs. That's just whatever you want. Spaces are just easier because it just makes it you don't have to like have big spaces in there, because tabs are actually big, right? So like you can go with spaces, and then indent size essentially tells you how many spaces you want. So in this case we have 2, and if I actually go back to this code here, there you go. So you see we got 2 spaces here. That is our indent. So I just want to get you familiar with the indent before we get into the coding, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about this lesson. If not, I'll see you in the next lesson where we talk about coding, and where we start actually coding some of the if and else statements and get you more familiar with some more important concepts to help you write really cool if and else statement programs.